Technological Ashes, Chapter 8, Scalding Hot. I took over the controls of the train from Andy to give him some time to get to know Seb some more. I felt as though Andy was softening up to Seb, which always happened after some time. He had hated my husband when we first met him. Ah, Harold, how I missed him. He'd been struggling with depression and CPTSD his whole life. He was a survivor of an incestuous family that had done such atrocious things to him that when he finally snapped at the age of 15, killing them all in their sleep, the courts and jury had no choice but to find him innocent because of the horrifying abuse. He, unfortunately, later on in life, killed himself after a coworker sexually assaulted him. I came home to his lifeless body slumped over on the couch, sleeping pills next to his body, and a bottle of vodka still in his right hand. Ah, the sun had started to rise, and I checked the time on the crank radio that Seb had given me to monitor transmissions. 6:54 a.m., and we passed a sign for a town named Alexandria, New Mexico. Then, as I looked up from the radio, I slammed the brakes as there was a blue Volkswagen Bug on the tracks. Andy came running up to the front of the train. Seb was nowhere to be found. Hey, let's move the car. We shouldn't stay put for too long. Andy nodded, and we hopped off the train. I sauntered over to the car and swore I saw movement in the area, but when I checked again, there was nothing there. Crack. A branch snapped, and then an AR-15 firing sounded off, and Andy fell to the ground, clutching his leg, which had a bloody and gaping hole in it. I took out my own pistol, but then a man walked out of the woods. He wore civilian clothes, but the way he held himself said otherwise. Howdy, y'all. Sorry for the rude introduction, but your train and supplies are now mine. Drop the gun, Rambo. I did, and it hit the ground, accidentally firing right into a tree trunk. The bark shattered, and a cloud of birds flew out of the tree. The man smiled and walked towards us. Let him go, please. Take me. He put his finger to his chin in a mocking gesture before giving an ultimatum. I kill him, you go, and I take the train. Test your luck in an unfortunate situation, or I'll let you both die and I live a happier and healthier man. I like the second option better. He raised his gun, and before I knew it, his hand was blown up by a shotgun blast. Ah! Seb then casually threw me the gun and walked over to Andy to tend to his wound. I started to walk over to the man who was backing away from me frantically on the ground. Please don't, please. I just took out my knife and stabbed his chest. Then I took an open palm and slammed the knife fully inside. The blood started to ooze from his mouth, but that wasn't good enough for me. I took a rock and slammed it onto his kneecap, totally shattering it, and then got my gun and held it to his temple. Go ahead, I'm a dead man anyway. Let me make you take another life. Ha! You'll be judged for it. I shot him 10 times with only the fifth shot going into his brain, just to inflict as much pain as possible. I took my knife back with a sickening gush of blood pouring from the wound. I took my knife with me, the blood dripping from it impacting the ground with each step. Then a wave of horror washed over me as what I had done curdled my stomach. I leaned on a tree and puked the contents of my stomach onto the ground. I wiped my mouth with my hand and walked over to where Seb and Andy were. Gordon, you did the right thing. That asshole deserved it, and more. I understood Seb's sentiment, but didn't agree. No, I didn't. At all. What you did literally disarmed him. We should have left it at that. But seeing Andy in danger overrode my moral code. Seb seemed to understand and fell silent. Andy had some pills in his hand that Seb had given him for the pain. You okay? His teeth were clenched and tears streamed from his eyes, yet he nodded through the obvious pain as Seb poured disinfectant on the wound. Seb then wrapped the wound and gave Andy a solid stick to prop himself up with. He hobbled back towards the train as Seb and I went to push the car off the tracks. Seb opened the door and put the gear in neutral and helped me push the Volkswagen down the hill. The car accelerated down the hill before eventually crashing into a rock and blowing up in spectacular fashion. I spit down the hill. Fuck you. You made me kill to save. Go to hell. I'll see you there. Seb just remained silent, but gave me his hand to hold. He could tell that I was so far beyond my moral code. I refused his hand at first, then he extended it again, this time more forcefully. I took the hint and grasped his surprisingly soft skin. What do you do to get your skin this soft? He smiled and understood that I needed distraction. Cocoa butter. Sometimes shea. And anyway, you did the right thing, even if it wasn't the way you ever wanted to. And I wanted to apologize for what I said earlier. That was uncalled for. While it was understood. Thank you, Seb, for saving us. I hope to be able to repay the favor one day. He smiled and we walked back towards the train, helping Andy up the side of the engine. Then we got going again, towards an unknown future. And stay tuned for Chapter 9 as you were coming up next. Okay, bye. Love y'all. Choo.